The Lord said that there's about to be a manufactured famine. This famine that's coming, shortage of food, is a man-made famine. And the Lord said if we begin to pray now, it can be, he said might actually, can be averted. But we got to start praying now. If enough does not pray, it won't be inverted. It is a manufactured famine coming. It is from the enemy. In Yeshua Jesus' name. So pray against this man-made, manufactured famine. Pray that they don't start shutting farm places and the racist food and stuff. Pray. Because it's the reason that they're going to do this. Pray. They want control of the masses. Thus saith the Lord. In Yeshua, Jesus' most holy, holy, holy name.
Hey folks, Twisted Christian here. Today I want to share some prophetic words concerning food shortages. This video is not meant to make people go into some kind of fear, but for preparation. And you just heard the words from Prophetess Solomon, and she talked about the food shortage and it being manufactured. Now, for a while now, I've been watching the supply chain issues, and especially dealing with the grocery stores. And what I saw was over the last couple of years, before Biden took over, I saw massive price increases at the grocery stores. And knowing the internal workings of that, not only did the shipping companies that were bringing these products in were raising prices, but the people that were manufacturing everything that goes into the grocery store, they were raising their prices too as well. And we see that inflation is at a all-time high of 7.9%. And I've seen the supply chain issues, and it hasn't been as bad as it is now. And when the pandemic first started, we saw a lot of items not being shipped in for months, and things began to smooth out. But then this administration that we have now took over, and we've seen the supply chain issues, especially on the West Coast, where all of the ships that carry the containers are just sitting out in sea, not being unloaded. And the excuses that they made to not bring them in. And then the shipping containers that were stuck on trains, or the shipping containers, stuck on the ground being broken into, and many goods and items being taken out of those shipping containers. And to me, I felt like it was being done on purpose, that they were allowing this to happen. And I don't think their plan worked out as well as they thought it would. But she did say that we need to pray about this so that we could try to avert some of it or all of it. Now, one thing is that Prophet Solomon does have a lot of prophecies over the last several months. So you guys need to make sure you go over there and start listening to a lot of those prophecies, right? Some of you guys are missing out on certain things because you're not paying attention. I cannot show every single prophecy of everybody, and that's why it's important that when I share somebody with you, that you guys go to the channel and subscribe. I've been sharing different people to give you guys a different perspective. And everybody is saying the same thing. Here, I'm going to show you guys just some headlines from articles like over the last week. And we heard the big major one, that Biden warns of real food shortage following sanctions on Russia. And they're telling us what's getting ready to happen, folks. And I believe that we are heading into that Joseph moment. But I believe that it's not something that's going to last for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 7 years. I believe this is going to be a short period of time. And I'm praying that we are actually able to prosper before these things actually happen, so that we can put ourselves into position with our storehouse and that we can help others too as well. And not everybody is in the same financial position. So that's why you need to pray about this and look at your budget. I know a lot of you are trying to invest too as well. But I'm praying that a lot of these stocks and investments and cryptos that we're in begin to take off, so that we can actually cash out and begin to prepare ourselves for this moment. And not just for us and our family, but for others as well. The next headline, get ready for hell. UN food chief warns amid Ukraine shockwaves. Bird flu outbreak leads to deaths of 12.6 million birds in U.S. That deals with chickens. All right, so I'm expecting the price of chicken to go up dramatically. Europe to till fallow land to offset food shortages from war in Ukraine. So now Europe is tilling land so that they can start growing food. That's pretty serious, folks. And it seems like our farmers are always just stuck, like they're told not to produce. And we saw some of that. Land just not being used, no food growing on it, but the farmers are still getting paid because the government is telling them not to grow crops. Egypt fixes prices of free market bread to combat surge in cost as its pound plummets. Ukraine war causing food shortages in fragile Middle East. Local humane societies working to keep pets fed during national food shortages. And I did a little bit of research on that. There's a lot of canned pet foods that are not coming in. And so people are having to resort to dry foods and so forth. It's not only affecting, humans, it's pet food too as well. Especially for those of you who have pets, you might want to start looking at stocking up food for your pets. Ukraine-Russia crisis. America's fast food giants are at risk. Now, folks, if we're affected in the grocery stores, what do you think is going to happen to the fast food restaurants if they can't get all their items in? And that kind of made me think about McDonald's being at 61 cents with all the other issues that are going on. I'll get a little bit more into that here in a little bit. As sanctions bite Russia, fertilizer shortage imperils world food supply. Now, from what I understand, about 60% of fertilizer comes from Russia. This is the season where they're fertilizing now, and those costs have increased dramatically. So all those costs are going to be put onto the consumer, which is us. And you can't expect food to stay at the price of where it's at with gas at $4.40 and in other places a lot higher. I put together over 20 different prophetic words from different people concerning these food shortages and inflation. Like I said, it's not to put fear into you, but for you guys to prepare yourself. I believe that we are going to be like the stock market. I believe that we're in a swing trade market and that you're going to be seeing a lot of stocks kind of explode, kind of like when GME and AMC took off in January, February of 2021. I think a lot of these companies, when we look at like fast food places, I think they're going to be really struggling by the time these gas prices hit all-time highs. And this document that I have, it's just one after the other after the other. And there's only a few of these that I've shown you guys dealing with hyperinflation, food prices, people standing in lines. And so I did this because I wanted to share confirmation on what people are seeing. One of the ones which I've shared on Patreon and talked about in another video, but $9 a gallon for gas. And that's about double from where I am at right now, as far as in Illinois. In some places, it's even higher. So I couldn't imagine what the cost of food is going to be if we see gas at $8 and $9 a gallon. All right, here's another one. Fast food chains are going to struggle. Inflation and famine. Our young daughters dream about grid down in America. Food shortages as well. Grocery stores down. Famine is coming. Stock up now. Dream of hyperinflation. Banks closing. Food shortage dream. This lady here had 3 food shortage dreams. Somebody else on YouTube posted 2 food shortage dreams. It's time to get prepared. 2022 stockpile food now. There will be food shortages and famine. All right, so there's a lot here. By the time you get through 3 or 4 or 5, you should understand that this prophetic word has been confirmed. But we can pray to try to avert as much of this as we can. And one way to do that is to stock up your food now. And that's so that you and your family can avert what is coming. But also, at the same time, by you stocking up your food now, gives the opportunity for grocery stores to refill their stores. Right? You'll have everything that you need, and other people will be able to get what they need too as well. And so one of the things I do want to bring up, I'm going to share this short prophetic dream about fast food chains, that they're going to struggle. Right? This dream is actually in the document that I have there, and that document will be down below in the description. This video was out on November the 5th, 2021. The YouTube name is called Daughter of Yahweh.
This is another dream. I just recorded a dream last night as well. So here I am with another dream. I had this dream back in October as well, a couple of weeks ago. And I'm just going to go ahead and get straight to the point. So I was at home with my son and my sister. I cooked dinner for them, but I wasn't sure if I had prepared enough food for them. So I left home to see what else I could find to bring back home, to eat. So I drove down a street that had restaurants on every block. And I passed many restaurants because I didn't want their food. I didn't want anything that I saw as I was driving by. So I ended up pulling into what I believe was a Wendy's, or it could have been a Chick-fil-A. When I woke up from this dream, I had a hard time remembering which restaurant that I went into, but for some reason it just feels like I was actually at a Wendy's for some reason. So I remember pulling up to a restaurant because it had a lot of customers. All of the other restaurants that I passed didn't have a lot of customers. I actually do this in real life. I do not go to restaurants that only have a few customers here and there. I avoid restaurants that always have slow traffic because it is a sign that they most likely don't have good food or they have bad service. It's just usually it's a bad restaurant all the way around when you don't see a lot of customers. So in my dream, that's how I chose this restaurant. It had a lot of customers both outside going through the drive-thru and waiting inside. I decided to go into the restaurant, which was very crowded inside. The line was very long, and so I decided to stand at the end of this long line to order food. And while I was waiting, I realized why this place was so packed and why it was so crowded. They were selling a new menu item, which was fried chicken. The big deal was that this place was a place that was known for its chicken sandwiches and had never sold fried chicken legs and thighs before. I saw fresh, hot fried chicken orders being filled and placed on the counter for customers to pick up. It seemed as if there was some type of shortage or chicken breast. There was a chicken breast shortage, and this restaurant had to include legs and thighs on its menu to continue to bring in customers. At first, customers were really excited to try the new legs and thighs, but then the excitement died down. Some people felt like they were waiting too long to order their food, so the line that I was in got very short. People became frustrated with waiting on the food and began to get out of line and leave the restaurant. I saw people in cars outside getting out of the drive-through lines as well. So before I knew it, I was standing at the counter ready to order some chicken. And then that's where my dream ended. And when I woke up, I just knew in this dream that this restaurant, as well as others, were having an issue with making enough chicken sandwiches. So they had to put fried chicken legs and thighs on the menu. So it wasn't just this one restaurant that was dealing with it. For some reason, I knew that other restaurants were going to have the same issue. We have multiple restaurants that serve or are known for their chicken sandwiches. So now I'm wondering, will we find ourselves looking at a real situation like this? Will fried chicken legs and thighs actually be added to the menus of places like Chick-fil-A and Wendy's? Or will we see restaurants across the board adjusting their menus due to increased food shortages? And as of recently, we have been hearing in the news that some restaurants have been having to change certain items on their menus to adjust for a lack of ingredients or ingredients being missing, but it hasn't been as serious as having to add something to their menu that's out of the ordinary. I think what I just dreamt about is a little bit more extreme. It's not like there's a lack of flour or a lack of eggs or something like that. This was having to be a little bit more drastic than missing or having a lack of baking powder.
Okay, so you heard that. Now, one of the things is, from my own experience in working in this industry and also in a grocery store, the pieces of chicken that people do not eat the most is the thighs. You have some people that really love thighs, and then most customers would ask if they could substitute the thighs for something else. That is a confirmation for me. Now, if there are chicken places that don't normally sell legs or thighs and they have to start selling legs and thighs, then you know that there is issues. This isn't the only dream about fast food places that are going to struggle. Right? So I want you guys to start doing some research on that, because once people cannot find food in the grocery stores, they're going to be going to the fast food restaurants and regular restaurants, and then they're going to be running out of food, and they won't be able to get their supplies in because the supply chain is so messed up. And this is something that I can actually see down the road just from looking at the headlines. You know, we're looking at fertilizer plants, inflation, and all this stuff that's going to have a major effect. And this is why I say about McDonald's, if McDonald's cannot supply people with like meat, you know, for their burgers or French fries or anything like that, they're going to be really hurting. And I believe a lot of the fast food restaurants are going to be hurting. We saw the prophetic word that McDonald's being at 61 cents. I think there's going to be multiple factors. And part of that is what I've shared with you about the prophetic dreams dealing with McDonald's and the chemicals that are getting in the food and stuff like that, on top of food shortages and supply chain issues. You know, it could get to a point to where, from working at the grocery store, we wouldn't get a lot of plastic items in, stuff that we put food in. Now, could you imagine if they didn't have cups or straws or containers for French fries? Not only that, we're also dealing with an employee shortage. Some of you probably have been to restaurants or fast food places where it takes a long time because you might only have 2 people running a whole entire fast food place. And the only thing that is open is the drive-thru because they don't have any employees. I have seen stores in our area shut down early every single day because they don't have enough employees. So you have a lot of different factors in all of this that could actually make this happen. So I want you guys to go through and check out some of these different prophetic words concerning what is coming. Like I said, most of these people I never came across before. A lot of these people are just people who just are posting their dreams and visions about what God is showing them. So you have all these people that God is showing them these things, and I think that we need to start preparing for that. But I pray that each and every one of us that are listening and that are paying attention and that need to and want to prepare for this Joseph moment, that some of these investments that we're in start taking off so that we can use those funds to fill up our storehouses. So there's a lot of confirmation here, folks. You know, I wish I could show every single video or talk about every single video, but there's so many. And this is just a prophetic confirmation about what's getting ready to happen here in America. So we do need to pray. We need to pray for our families. And we need to pray for people to wake up. You know, you have so many distractions that are going on. You just saw the whole thing at the Oscars with Will Smith. I mean, yet we have all these warnings about food shortages. And we already know that, you know, that they want America to fall. And they're going to do everything they can to jack up inflation, to make it hard for Americans. They want to weaken us in every way they can because they want to be in power and they want to take over. You know, and this wealth transfer is not going to come easy, folks. And a lot of decisions are going to have to be made in a lot of different areas. And I know a lot of us are trying to invest, and you're thinking about prepping for the future. Pray with me that some of this wealth transfer will take place before these things happen, and then that we can prepare ourselves and fill up our storehouse. And don't fear, because we are in Jesus Christ, and God will take care of us. And He's showing us what to do step by step, and He's preparing us for the future. This is not something that's going to happen tomorrow, but we are seeing the prices increase. We're probably going to see a lot of volatility in the middle of April. April 12th comes the new CPI inflation numbers. And that's going to give us a better determination down the road as far as what's going to happen with food prices. So anyways, folks, pray, plan, strategize, and prepare yourself. God bless. TC out.